This is us after my cousin Rose, when she got married. We were all up here for her wedding and the reception afterwards, and that was the reception. Just a family getting together after that. This is back down in Garden Grove. This is Dad. He's working on Jeff's car in the garage. You'll see it in a second. There it is. And this is the townhouse that they had there in Garden Grove after they lost the house. This goes back in time again. Like I said, the movies jump around. This is a van that Dad had bought for his business, and him and Jeff were spending some time putting some seats that Dad probably picked up at the swap meet into it. Some fireworks over Disneyland off in the distance. I think this is probably Marineland, and there's Sue, Jeff, myself, and there's Deb on the other end. And a lot of this is overexposed. Now these are some of those topiary plants. These are over by Disneyland, and that's myself. There's Jeff right there, and Deb next to him in the black, and then Sue is standing next to me. And most of the movies that we got from this time frame, there's Dad in his van, were all overexposed. And it was sad because Dad made a point to take. There's Grandpa, Grandma, and Mom walking into the castle at Disneyland. And there's Grandpa in front of a calliope there at Knott's Berry Farm. And Grandpa and Dad sitting there and cuddling some of those wooden ladies sitting out in front. And Grandma and Grandpa, my mom, walking around. And Grandpa had bought one of those invisible dogs, on one of those plastic leashes. And you'll see him jump here in a second, because he was pretending like the dog was getting after him. And there's Dad, there's me, Grandma, Grandpa, Mom. And there we all are going up an escalator. Now this next clip you're going to see is funny. It's coming up here in a second. All of us in a Burger King all sitting in a row. All of us just down the side there. But all of these are overexposed, and my dad was so upset when he got this stuff back, because in the trips that Grandma and Grandpa had made out before, he didn't take a lot of home movies. So he made a point this time to take a lot. And when he got back, most of them looked like this, and you just couldn't see anything. This is just a brief sampling, hardly of anything. Most of the movies, there was like 5 reels of it, and most of them were they're no good. All you see is stuff like this, little ghost images off in the distance. But it was Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Hollywood, Marineland. Again, jumping back in time. This is our house in Garden Grove when we first bought it, right before it was painted. That's myself in the front, Dad, and then Jeff. And now we jump back to the overexposed trip when Deb and Sue and Grandma and Grandpa came out. I think this is still Marineland, not sure. And then we jump in. There's Deb and Jeff in the back of the van sleeping. And now we're up in Hollywood, up at Grauman's Chinese Theater. And we went up to Hollywood. There we are, loading back in the van for the drive home. And if I remember correctly, that van didn't have air conditioning, so I'm sure that was hot. There's Grandpa in the backyard, standing in front of my car, getting ready. There's Grandma walking around the pool. She's going to do a pose here in a second. Get ready. Ta-da! And then on the diving board, but no jump in the pool today. And there's Deb, Grandma, Sue, and Grandpa. Sue in the Casey and the Sunshine Band shirt. Got to give her for that. There's Grandma and Jeff in the background. There's Sue again. And Grandpa and someone else over there. There's Jeff, Grandma sitting on his lap, Deb sitting on Sue's lap, and there's Grandma and Grandpa sitting out by the pool, taking it easy, getting ready for the next day. The next day they were going back home, so I'm sure they were just getting some rest, which they deserved. Next morning we're all getting ready. There's Grandpa, Grandma, there's Sue and myself, there's Jeff. Deb's in the background, and there's Grandpa again. Jeff's trying to get us all to line up for a picture, but I don't think anyone's cooperating with him. Grandpa's doing a good job of smiling for probably my dad taking the movies, but no one's listening to Jeff. This is Lion Country Safari. This goes back again in time when we first moved to California. And that's Dad and my mom sitting in the Jeep, and then there's Dad there at Lion Country Safari. This is a picture of my dad. It's a still actually of the video, and this is Christmas of 1982. So this is only 2 months before Dad passed away. And the reason I paused this is because you can actually see how thin and how sad and how tired Dad looked. At least I think you can just look at it for yourself. And I didn't put it in here for sadness or anything like that. I put it in here because of the fact that it just does show Dad was not well. And you can see that. And here's another part that I just did in slow motion because the clip goes by so fast. And again, there's Dad. You can just see in his eyes that he's not well, that he's not feeling good. And when you remember the Christmas videos that we looked at before of how lively he was and how much fun he was having and everything, and now you see him now and you can just see in his eyes that he's not well. He's sick, he's tired. And we didn't know that he only had another 2 months to be with us, because trust me, if I knew that fact, things would have been different. And here's Dad. This is the one to me that really points out how bad Dad was doing. You can see how tired he is, how thin he is in his face, how thin he is himself, and just that sparkle is gone. The liveliness, it's just gone. And that's a slow motion one again. Like I said, the clips go by so fast that I ran them slow motion. Now here's regular speed, because you can see how fast it goes by. And then again on the other clip, you can see here it goes by real fast. Dad there. And that's me and one of my girlfriends. I don't know why that got in there. Now these are some flowers that Mom got after Dad passed away. And it's just sad, because when you look back at the videos of all the fun that we had and all the smiles and all the laughs and the Christmases and all that stuff, and it all just came to an end and our lives changed. This part of the video, I started this video with this clip and I end it with this clip as well, because to me it's very sad, because when you're a kid you don't really think too much about your parents. And when I see my dad put his hand on my shoulder here, it's kind of hard to watch, because I wish I could stand next to him and put my arm on his shoulder, because I do miss him a lot. But anyway, that's that. And I hope you enjoyed watching them, and I love you, Dad.